Hang on a sec. I've got a little wait. I've got a little message that says, "Well, it looks like Discord is not detecting any input from your mic. Let's fix that."
Who, yours says that?
Yeah, I've got that message across my screen.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I think your audio's coming from mine.
It's definitely coming from the mic. Yeah, it's not just being picked up by like my.
Well, there's one way to test it. On your mic, you know the red button. If you press the red button in, that's a mute button. So press that in.
How about that? Are you still hearing the same?
I can still hear you.
I'm pressing it in.
No,
I'm pressing. I'm holding it in.
Don't hold it.
Okay, is that better? Oh, all of a sudden sounds a lot different.
Does it?
Yeah, to me.
Well, press it in again.
That's because my microphone's now feeding into my ears.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it on?
The two lights
got two little LEDs on the front.
Yeah,
that means the microphone's on.
Right. So one's USB, right? But what I think the second one means that the microphone's feeding into my own ears, which it wasn't before. Now it is.
Oh.
The one on the left.
Okay.
We should have checked this.
I think you might be using.
Are we live? Because this is collaborative.
That's right. Press the button again to see what happens.
Press it again.
Yes.
Yeah. So now I can't hear that in my ears.
Is that better?
But I've still got that message on my screen.
Well, I can hear you.
Let me just.
When you press that off and you can't hear it in your ears, we shouldn't be able to hear you either because it's a mute for the whole thing.
Yeah.
The fact that it's not stopping your voice means that the audio that you're using through Discord isn't the microphone.
Right. Let's change that.
Whatever it is, it sounds.
You want to go to your sound settings.
Yeah. Voice.
Here we go. Look, we've got Life by Lizzie in the chat already. Just a bunch of dads pointing at their mics. Lizzie said she can hear all of us.
Input.
Are we actually live? Are we?
We're live.
Oh no.
Lizzie said she can hear all of us.
It says default desktop microphone Rode XCM50, which is the mic, right?
Yeah, mate. Your audio sounds absolutely spot on. Like it sounds crystal clear.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful.
Okay, well, the message is gone now. So,
how weird is that it just popped up as we hit the live button? Right.
Are we gonna?
Yeah, Lizzie said.
Sing a song for intro music because we haven't got intro music.
Yeah, Ollie, you need to come up with a theme tune.
Maybe Lizzie could do that.
Yeah.
How's she going to do it from the chat? We didn't think this through.
You could just write lyrics down.
You must have some sort of guitar.
I don't know how any of this works. I've never twitched before.
Shall I get one of the guitars off the wall? Write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. Oh my god!
Right, what are we called, guys? I can't remember what we're called. This is.
So I guess we are
what
dads
we called?
now.
So I guess we're dads now. So this is episode 1, take 2.
Big man boys.
Because we did try this 2 months ago.
Yeah. So we tried this. We all met up together and we put one microphone in the middle of a room, and it sounded like absolute garbage. That was probably my fault.
I mean, what was that microphone? It looked like an egg. It was a USB mic. It looked like an egg.
I won't have you speaking about that mic. It's right here. Look. Honestly,
from
look
the
at this.
80s. Vintage.
Look at that. It's like a little Easter egg, isn't it? Yeah, we've all upgraded our mics, haven't we? Shout out to Gear for Music, not sponsored, but they would put a cracking deal, Easter egg pun, on oh my goodness, that's fallen, on the Rode. What is it? XCM50.
XCM50, yeah.
We've now got a trio of Rode microphones, and we've opted to recording this from our humble abodes and putting it live. The reason I suggested doing it live like this, really, if I'm being honest, is because it means I don't have to edit it after we've done it.
I thought it was because you couldn't bear to be in a room with the two of us.
Well, yeah, there was that as well.
Yeah, that's just an added benefit.
That's just an added benefit.
Should we just quickly introduce each of ourselves?
Yeah, let's do it. Go on then. Who's going to start? Go on, Ollie. You kick things off.
I don't mind. Oh, okay, Ollie. Yeah, go for it, Ollie.
All right. Well, I'm Ollie. Hi.
Oh no, have we lost?
You've frozen for me. Let it go.
I'm a dad too. A 1-year-old.
Wait a sec, bro. You've frozen.
4-year-old.
There's a bandwidth issue going on right there.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
Ollie, you're frozen. You said you're a dad of a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. I think you said.
Yeah. I am here. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
you're back. You're back.
Is this on? Is this on?
You need to put some more money in the meter. Right, so
maybe one of you two with better internet connections. Continue.
What, we can tell your story?
No. Pick up the mantle.
No, right. So go on, Ollie. Give us a whirl again. We want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Now your internet's back.
Right. Well, not too much to say. I'm a dad of two, a 4-year-old boy and a 1-year-old girl, Betty, who literally just turned 1 year old weeks ago.
Absolutely beautiful,
and,
beautiful little girl.
Life is chaos, as I'm sure with any young dads. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And you're a handsome bastard
we all
as
do
well.
Well, it goes without saying, doesn't it?
He's a handsome bastard, but his internet's awful. Go on, David. Give us a well, son.
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm David. I'm a 40-year-old dad of a 3-year-old boy, 3 and a bit. And funnily enough, mine and Louis' offspring are very, very close in age to each other.
Yeah, like a week or two apart, aren't they? Something like that.
Yeah, so
we literally boarded this train like almost at the same time, and it's
pretty much.
To be honest, it's been nice. Obviously, like having a good friend such as yourself that's like been on the same, journey, so to speak. Just going back to, so you said you're a 40-year-old dad of one. When I was explaining this to Lizzie earlier, I mentioned that you were 40 because we were talking about Dublin, and I said like David had gone to celebrate his 40th. She was like, "What, David? As in like Connie and David?" I was like, "Yeah, he's 40." She was like, "What? Like David, bald David?" And I was like, "Yes, David is 40 years old." She thinks you look a lot younger, mate. If that's any.
Oh, bless her. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
She said I look about 60, but
I feel older than 40 now. I've got a 3-year-old, so.
Do you feel like it's aged yet?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
You used a spring chicken before.
Yeah, I know. Listen, before we go too far, I want to do a little feature. It's going to be a weekly feature right at the start of the pod.
Well, I didn't even get a chance to introduce myself, but there we go.
Well, you sort of. Got it.
I'm only joking.
David slot, that was what it was.
God.
Anyone that's. If anyone's tuning into to my Twitch channel, they know a little bit about me. Lizzie's just said, "I'm still not convinced Louis isn't lying about David's age." See,
bless you. Can I see the chat, or am I unable to see it? Is it?
You'll be able to see it if you go onto my Twitch channel, but and then it makes it look like
Twitch,
and then it makes it look like I've got more viewers as well.
Is it?
If you guys, I've got 3 viewers. It's all of us. Yeah. So people know about me. I'm married to Lizzie, who's in chat. Life by Lizzie. Big up Life by Lizzie. I might make her a moderator of the channel or something. Married to Lizzie. We've got our 1-year-old. We've got our 3-year-old daughter Margot, who, like I say, is about 2 weeks younger than Ellis. I think Ellis was born a little bit before Margot, wasn't he? It's been a whirlwind. It's been a crazy 3 and a bit years, and my wife Lizzie's best friends with Kirsty, Ollie's wife, or they've been childhood friends for many, many years. That's how me and Ollie met. And then obviously I worked with David. For those of you that saw the old podcast that we did, 2 Dudes in a Pod, short-lived but absolute classics. You can still get them on Spotify. I don't know if we get any payment for that, do we? You ain't seen the check yet, have you?
I've actually come off Spotify now. I follow Jolly. I'm YouTube Music these days.
100% YouTube Music. That's what I'm on at the moment. But yeah, that's me. So that's how I know Ollie. Absolute fridge freezer. I play in a band with him now. David, I worked with him. Absolute musical genius as well. Drummer extraordinaire. In fact, there's 3 drummers here, isn't there? 3 drummers. Oh my goodness. Get a room, will you? We've got Mr. Still in chat here. Look, hello, you beautiful humans. Go on, you fridge. But yeah, talking of which, obviously this is the pilot episode. This is going on to my my Twitch, just because I haven't set up the socials yet. But now we know that this, well, hopefully it all works somewhat. Over the next few weeks, we'll get the socials set up. As you can see, we've got a little logo there, those of you that are watching on twitch.com. And yeah, we'll get that. And I think, you saying about YouTube music, I think maybe live streaming from YouTube. I don't know if that's more accessible for most people, but we'll figure that out anyway, won't we?
It'll work its way on there, no doubt, at some point anyway, won't it?
But anyway, I rudely interrupted you as well. You said you had a feature that you wanted to start at the end of every episode.
Yeah, you didn't rudely interrupt me. I rudely interrupted you is what happened. But yeah, back to this feature, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I stole it off of another podcast. It's an Arsenal one, but I figured I don't think there'll be too much crossover.
Not Arsenal fan TV.
I'm gonna steal it. And this feature is gonna be called Snack Check. And basically, at the start of every episode, we've all got a snack. Got to check what snack you've got. So who wants to go first on that?
I think you should. As it's your feature, I think you should kick things off so we can get a feel for what it should really be like.
Well, mine's pretty special. So what I've got is a blonde chocolate golden retriever.
Oh my goodness! What is that? An actual moulded, an edible dog.
So yeah,
I love that. And what's its name?
I wanted to find the most random thing I could possibly find that would also be delicious.
Well, and it's got a name as well. Is it called Honey? Did it say on that?
It's called Honey. Yeah, Honey, the golden retriever.
Honey, I shrunk the retriever and made him out of dairy. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
let's see
what that's like.
Right, well, you got to top that then, Ollie. I feel like mine's so vanilla compared to all this.
Mine was a very lastminute.com grab out of the kitchen cupboard.
Go on then.
I've gone for the Savorists sour cream and chive crunchies.
Oh my goodness, that's going to get one of these.
When we did take one of this podcast, you brought beef jerky, didn't you?
Or biltong.
So I bought beef jerky last time because I wanted it to be as quiet as possible.
Yeah.
And I've gone for crunchies in the high fidelity microphone.
Yeah.
You could get some really good ASMR audio.
I was going to say,
there she is.
Oh my God, the eyes are like staring into my
Glossy
soul
as well.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to feel a bit bad biting into it, but there you go.
Lizzie says this is definitely a sign that Lou should get Margot and I a golden retriever, apparently. Oh, he's gone straight in there. Note to self, Lizzie, don't invite David round, otherwise he'll start eating the dog. Right, so Ollie's going to... when you go on Twitch, you have to like select the category that you want the episode or want the live stream to go into. I should have ticked ASMR. You guys just chewing into like all sorts of cuisines. See, I've just gone like super vanilla, but I've gone with the absolute seasonal hero that is the Cadbury's cream egg. Only available.
That's a good one.
Only available at Easter, which is an absolute disgrace. Yeah. Lizzie's a big fan of these, and whenever Easter rolls around, we tend to have quite a healthy supply of those. And then obviously, in the weeks after Easter, we run out, and life just isn't the same until next Easter.
Have you ever tried the challenge where you've got to try and eat as many as you can in a minute?
I mean I didn't know it was a challenge, but I would have probably broken the record. All joking aside, what do you think you could eat? How many cream eggs in a minute? 2, probably.
Nah.
Yeah, 2 maximum. I'm not an animal. Come on.
4. Yeah.
4
in a minute. Yeah.
Nah, because
you would regret that afterwards. You might be able to physically do it, but emotionally afterwards you'll be a wreck.
Obviously, they're quite the innards
I'm eating
are
a
quite
chocolate
gooey,
dog, so
Are you going to
my
polish
morals
that?
are out the window.
Are you going to polish that off throughout the whole episode?
I'm going to polish it off in the next 5 minutes.
How many chocolate dogs can you eat in a minute? Oh my goodness. Well, lads, honestly, this is an absolute pleasure to have you guys and have us all here together. I know it's been a long time coming. It's mainly been down to me with work and stuff like that because I'm just all over the place, but we're finally here. We've got a name. We've got a platform that we're, streaming it on now. I guess the only thing left to do is to start talking about it. So, I guess we are dads now. David, You've
I
made a
think we
list,
should
didn't
just
you?
start right at the very beginning. So yeah. So
Let's not beat
the
around the bush.
pregnancy stage.
Yeah,
Huh?
I was just going to say let's not hide behind some sort of curtain of disbelief. We've actually got a list of bullet points, haven't we, of things that we want to sort of cover in this episode. Because as people will already have noticed, I don't know how long we've been live for. What, 20 minutes or so? We go off piste quite a bit. But yeah, we've got bullet points, and like David said, the first thing that we're going to talk about, let's take it right back from the beginning. Conception. How did it work, lads? I'm joking. I said that to Lizzie earlier. I said, we're going to talk right from the beginning. We're going to talk about the conception.
I think a good place to start would be
the pregnancy.
Maybe you telling me your news, because at that point I knew mine, but I was still holding my cards a little bit close to my chest.
What?
Remember?
What? When I told you our news? What? How did I tell you our news? I don't remember how I told you.
So it was on like a group FaceTime video call, and there was like Robin from work, and
oh, was there?
There was yeah.
Wait, was I still working at Soundtech then?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I can't remember that. No, I must have. Yeah, no, I'd already left Soundtech then, hadn't I? What? And I told you then, like told you guys there on that video call, did I?
Yeah, and I was sort of still holding on to my news. I didn't really know when to tell people. Like I found that a bit of a difficult thing to be like.
Yeah.
How soon do you tell people?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, it is always like it's a big thing, isn't it? And like because at first, especially in those early stages of pregnancy and stuff, you're kind of figuring it all out together, aren't you? So you're just like you're a bit apprehensive to tell other people.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess me and Connie would have been considered in the geriatric category.
Yeah, because you're a slightly older sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like I can't remember. So if he's
over 35
now, I would have been in 36, 37.
What is geriatric over 35? Is that?
I can't remember. I think it's over 30.
Just a quick one. We've got Stace Man Drummer. I'm guessing that's Stacey Moulton has just subscribed to the Twitch. Oh, he's followed. Sorry, on the Twitch channel. What a fridge freezer. He's here. Lovely to have you here, Stace. Okay, so I told you guys on a group call, did I?
Yeah.
And
what about you, Ollie? When did you decide to first drop the news to?
That was a long time ago now. So I do have one distinct memory of when we told people. We told both sides of the parents, both sort of sides of the family, and with George, when we were announcing him, we put a bit more effort into it. I would say the first time round, because it was just early lockdown. I think it was when we had George, and we did some baby cookies and grandpa mugs, and gave them to my parents as a gift, and sort of with no context. I just remember my mum saying, "Oh yeah, that's a nice mug," and starting to eat all the cookies. And it took her a good 5 minutes, and us actually having to say, "Have you read your mug?" She had to read it a good 2 or 3 times before it actually sunk in, and she went absolutely loopy. And then Kirsty's parents, when we told them, we did it in a similar fashion. And Mama Viv, Kirsty's mum, just effed and jeffed.
Yeah. I expect nothing less from Mama Viv.
It was quite a fantastic reaction.
Me and Connie did this gender reveal thing that her nieces sort of set up for us, and I didn't know what it was going to be.
Wait, you had to kick a football, didn't you?
Yeah. So what it was
Did you honestly not know the gender?
No, we did a gender reveal. And they put that, I don't know, bought this football and put some kind of like coloured powder inside, obviously blue because he was a boy. And all that was going through my mind when someone sort of threw the ball in the air for me to kick was, I better not miss this. Like, this is on video. Because if it just hits the floor and explodes, like, that's me done. Like, that's my one chance.
Typical Arsenal fan, always bottling it. Yeah. I bet that's what you was going through your head, wasn't it?
It was, and I did make contact, but like I properly sliced it.
Mm.
And
you
loads of
two-footed
people were
Connie.
commenting on the video, going like, "Oh, I guess you, because it was a boy, so it was blue powder." People going, "Oh, I guess you wanted a girl then, because you look disappointed." And really, I was just disappointed that I sliced it rather than made like clean contact.
That is absolute gold. Yeah, I do remember you posting that online. I was like, he's had a shocker there. he's absolutely sliced it into the rosette.
But at least I connected. At least I connected with it.
Yeah, this is true. We found out that Lizzie was pregnant on Mother's Day, believe it or not, which is obviously like a weird coincidence. But I remember, because obviously we've been trying for a little while, as you do, in certain situations. But we've been trying for a little while, and Lizzie had been doing pregnancy tests and all that sort of thing, and it was like, come back that she wasn't pregnant. And then on this morning, I was in bed, and Lizzie woke me up, and she was like, "Lou, wake up." And I was like, "What? Like, what's going on?" And I didn't realise this, but pregnant women aren't allowed to go near like cat feces and things, like litter trays and stuff like that, because it's like a contaminant for the baby and stuff. So she woke me up. She was like, "Lou, you're going to need to clear up the cat shit." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "I'm pregnant. You've got 9 months of clearing up the cat shit." I was like, "Great, lovely." So
Nice.
that was her. I mean, that's just typical Lizzie, absolute comedy genius. But yeah,
So do you now always associate cat shit with the news of the birth of Margot?
Well,
Margot's not news of the birth, but the news of.
What I'm worried about is Margot's been here for 3 years now, and I'm still clearing up all the cat shit. So what's so I don't know what happened there. But yeah, that was.
Actually, you know what? That's one job that's stuck in my house as well.
Exactly.
Kirsty doesn't do the cat shit anymore at
Yeah,
all.
exactly. So I don't know if Lizzie thinks she's been pregnant for the past 3.5 years nearly, but I'm only joking. That is a complete lie. We do share the load when it comes to cat fecal matter. But yeah, it was Mother's Day, and that was how I was greeted with the news that Lizzie was pregnant, and it was a very, very, very good day. And Mother's Day is also not Mother's Day. Valentine's Day. I was thinking of the wrong day. Is Lizzie's mum's birthday, but Mother's Day we went to see my mum, and we did the same as you, Ollie. We had a Mother's Day card, and we put in there like Happy Mother's Day to Nanny. Or something like that, and she just like read the card, and she just completely didn't take a blind bit of notice of it. And we was like, "Have you actually read the card?" And she then she like took a double look at it, and she was like, "Oh my god!" Like started crying and was all over the place. And again, like Lizzie's parents were just over the moon and stuff. It's like a big thing, isn't it? I guess when your kids are having kids, it must be a weird trip. That perhaps some.
I think I just sent a text message with the ultrasound photo.
Did you? What, to your mum?
It was like peak lockdown. So I was just like, I couldn't really get there easy. I suppose I could have bought a card and sent a card, but no, I just sent a text, just a WhatsApp message. Here you go.
Just sent an email and CC'd your mum in.
But like, I'm one of 4 siblings, really. Like, I've got a step brother and sister as well as my brother, but they've been step brother and sister for so long that I just consider them just as much my siblings,
Yeah.
And I was the second eldest, but I was the last to like have a kid.
Yeah.
So my brother was the oldest, then me, then my step brother, then my stepsister, and I think the fact that everyone else had a kid, like by that point, that's kind of like, oh. Catch up, mate. Do you know what I mean? Join the party. About time.
But your mum was obviously equally as excited.
No, she was. I actually think my mum maybe thought that I was never going to do it.
Did serious question? Did you think you'd ever be a dad? Like, was it on your list of things that you wanted in life, or
me?
Yeah.
It was a weird one. Like. Yeah, like I just always naturally assumed I would have them, but it never, ever sort of felt right until really I was with Connie, and Connie is a paediatric nurse, and She's from quite a large family herself. She's one of 16. And
I bet that's fun at
she's just
Christmas.
very nurturing, and like you just having her as the person I was having a kid with just gave me the confidence that it was the right person in the right time.
You know, you were saying that like she's from a family of 16. Like, I bet that's fun at like family get-togethers, isn't it?
It's not quite that straightforward. I won't go into like all the details about it. But yeah, and then they're quite spread out around the world as well.
Well, that, you know, it's yeah. I mean, and this is the beautiful thing about what we're trying to do here. We've all got different experiences, haven't we, with different families and like different approaches to it and stuff. But let's go back to your list, David. So the first thing that we wanted to talk about was the pregnancy stage. So how did you guys? How did your partners get on with that? Should we say?
Well, pretty well, to be honest with you. Like, I never really noticed mood swings. I never noticed her to have like weird food cravings either. But I tell you what, like, because so we moved house. We moved to Peterborough in September, and Ellis was born in October. So bless her, she was a proper trooper. She was like packing boxes, moving boxes and stuff when she was like 8 months pregnant. While I was sat down with my feet up. So just.
I mean, we're sort of like in the process of like looking to move house at the moment, and yeah, I don't know how Lizzie would feel if she was that far, you know, pregnant and moving house. That seems so stressful.
Particularly when you're in pregnancy, you're going through like a nesting phase where you're trying to bed down and make things ready for baby and all that, and having all that uncertainty of having to move and pack boxes and put it all away. It must be quite a challenge.
We sort of bought a new build and it got delayed by 2 months because the cupboard doors we wanted went out of stock.
Oh my god! Explain that to a woman that's 8 months pregnant. Try and explain that to a woman that's 8 months pregnant. Sorry, we don't have your cupboard doors available. I'm just going to have a look.
No, she was 6 months pregnant at the time.
Oh, sorry, yeah, she was 6 months at the time, and it was 2 months out. We've got Stacey in the chat saying, "In 51 years, this is my first time ever watching a podcast. Love it, lads." Look at that, we're getting engagement, boys. We've got Nathan B.
You've picked a gem for the first one, haven't you?
Yeah, of
Hang
course.
on a minute. Is he also a drummer?
Yes.
Did you point him out at Margot's birthday to me?
Yes. Yeah, you've met Stacey, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you actually ever introduced us, but you certainly pointed him out to me.
I did point him out, yeah. He's an absolute local legend in Peterborough.
Nice.
Rich Freezer.
Not for the fact that he's an amazing drummer, but just because he's a really nice bloke as well, which is, you know, to us is the most important thing, obviously. But yeah, sorry, I digress. So there was no mood swings. There was no food cravings. I must admit, because I was talking about this with Lizzie earlier, Lizzie had a couple of weird cravings. For I don't know how long it was. It felt like a good few months. All Lizzie would eat or would want to eat was Cornish pasties. I don't know why.
Really?
Like
that is an elite choice, though. Cornish pasties are awesome. I know,
but they had to be like baked in the oven.
Ginsters or
yeah, ginsters. But you put them in the oven for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes or something, just to bake and make them nice.
Yeah,
and crispy.
That is the way.
Yeah.
Cook them in the oven for a little bit, and then get some white pepper on top.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was the only thing that Lizzie could eat really that wouldn't make her feel sick. So she did have a bit of sickness and that sort of thing, and but I know I've spoke to you guys about it before as well. But like Lizzie's got like a heart condition as well, so she was trying to manage all of that alongside just the usual stuff that happens with pregnancy. But yeah, she's an absolute trooper through it all. I mean, you guys have met Lizzie. She's pretty easy going and laid back, and yeah, she was pretty much like that throughout the whole pregnancy. What's this?
Nice.
Nathan Beach.
What about for you, Ollie? Because you've been through it. Well, your partner's been through it twice, right? Was it different each time?
No, very much the same actually. I would say Betty's pregnancy the second time around was possibly a little bit worse than with George. Kirsty was pretty solid all the way through. A lot of sickness though in the mornings and not being able to keep much food down, and along with that, a lot of hormonal stuff as well. So there's definitely frosty moments in our relationship in the pregnancy stage for sure. No, it just went by in a flash. I remember it at the time. The pregnancy felt like it lasted forever. I mean, from the news of having a baby through to labour and birth, that just felt like an absolute eternity. And with it, the first time around being through lockdown as well, obviously you're so cut off from support networks. There was no like the parent classes and breastfeeding classes and this, that, and the other, how to actually be a parent. Um, no one teaching you any of that, and yeah, it was a struggle, but you get through it, you know. The main thing, sort of being able to shoulder some of the responsibilities of the housework and whatever else, you know.
I guess that
just as an update, this is all that's left of Honey.
That's just one beady eye looking at me. Look. Mate, you have absolutely demolished that. I'm saving this cream egg because, you know, once Easter's fully out the window, won't have any of these left. I'm going to ration it out.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I guess, you know, during the pregnancy and stuff, like, I guess our job as supportive partners is to kind of, like you say, I guess lighten that load and just try and be that support person. It's like you said, especially through the lockdown and stuff, because like there wasn't anyone else other than us, I guess, to help our wives and partners, where they had to solely rely on us, really.
You've got to remember they can't have any McFlurries throughout the entire pregnancy.
Yeah,
imagine having to go 9 months without having a McFlurry.
Yeah,
is that true?
Yeah, there's some kind of
it's
isn't there an egg
unpasteurised milk, isn't it?
I didn't know that.
In the McFlurry, so you can't have Mr. Whippy or McFlurry, anything like that.
David's thinking, how many McFlurries did I give to Connie during the pregnancy? Here he is.
She's a nurse. She should know.
We've got Big Man Boise in the chat. He's saying, how were the first kicks? Do you guys remember like feeling the baby kicking for the first time? Good question, that.
That's a good question. Who's going first?
Like an absolute alien.
I'm opening that to you.
Creeped the hell out of me. And just
it is weird.
Like that scene out of the movie, you know, no, I couldn't touch them.
Because when your partner's pregnant, obviously the baby is just kind of like a figment of your imagination, isn't it? You don't know what they're going to be like, but then when you actually see like the feet and that kick in the stomach, you're like, that's actually a real living being, like inside your partner. It is quite a scary thing, but at the same time, it's like in your heart, you're like, oh my god, like this thing's alive, and it's like very real now, and it's like, yeah, I think it made me feel all sorts of emotions. I think when I felt that for the first time.
Did you boys? A horror movie. It just creeped me out.
Did you boys play any music into this?
Yeah. We went on like a mad Beatles hype throughout Lizzie's pregnancy, like proper deep dive on Beatles, and yeah, we was just listening to loads and loads of Beatles. I would like sing to Lizzie's bump. I know it sounds like really corny and that, but yeah, I do a lot of singing. And Lizzie's put in the chat the Forensics Files theme tune. Yeah, Margot heard that a lot because Lizzie used to fall asleep watching that. She still does. But yeah, lots of Beatles. And yeah, Margot now, she absolutely loves the Beatles. She knows all of their names. Nice. She says George, Paul, Ringo, and John. And yeah, what about you guys? Did you listen to anything?
The song I played that got the best reaction from him when he was still inside the womb was "Fat Bottom Girls" by Queen.
Absolute true, mate. Up until I recently got rid of Spotify, I still had your Quintessentials playlist that you set up. Do you remember that? Quintessentials.
I was well chuffed with that title. I was hoping that would like take off and get like loads and loads of followers, but it didn't.
Just me.
just you, yeah. Just you and me.
Exactly. Well, we are an acquired taste, not we figured that out.
Yeah.
What was you listening to?
Me and Kirsty, it was Lewis Capaldi. His debut album came out the right time.
He was quite big at that time, wasn't
he? Yeah, and it was a lot of Lewis Capaldi on repeat, and Golden Girls.
What, the TV show?
Thank you for being a friend.
I wonder how Lewis Capaldi's doing, because obviously, like, he's just not about anymore, is he? Like, with his mental health and stuff. I hope he's all right. I sometimes get that, where I think about someone like that, and I'm just like, I hope they're doing all right.
Yeah.
I wish them well, you know? Imagine if Lewis Capaldi just popped up in my Twitch chat, and he's like, I'm all right, lads. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
I suppose that it makes sense to then move on from that to the birth, the miracle, the moment.
The moment when you first lay eyes on your beautiful little human. Yeah.
Well, so all right, who was C-section, and was anyone was Kirsty natural or C-section? And I can't really.
Kirsty was natural for both.
Natural for both.
First time round with George, it was 2 paracetamol and nothing else.
Absolutely.
Pretty hardcore.
That is not even any ibuprofen.
No, paracetamol. Two paracetamol tablets, and they'd just got the gas and air ready for her, and then they were like, "Oh no, he's coming. There's no time for it. It won't make any difference now anyway."
Built different.
Yeah. I think she had some strong stuff afterwards. I think they gifted her that.
Yeah.
But,
as a reward. Yeah.
During labour, it was literally 2 paracetamol. We'd just got settled into the delivery ward, and it was there. And actually, I tell you what, the nurse did the check, and they were like, "Oh no, you're not dilated yet. We may have to induce you." When she came back with the stuff to get ready to induce her, she checked again, and she'd gone to fully dilated, and the baby about to be there within 5 minutes. So it went from needing assistance and that to 20 minutes later, baby being born.
And this was with George, right?
This was with George. Yeah, there was a moment in amongst that where Kirsty, she just had a paracetamol, bless her, and she was having a push, and she was gripping my hand, and says to me, she's like, "I don't think I can do it. I can't do it." And I was like, "I'm sorry, love, you haven't got any choice."
Ever supportive.
That line will
that'll be etched. That'll be etched in her brain forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
what's your memory like, Louis, of the actual birth?
So Lizzie had a C-section. It was planned again because of Lizzie's heart condition and stuff. I think Lizzie and when she spoke to the doctors and stuff, were worried that the stress of like a natural birth might have just been too much for her, sort of thing. So I mean, we always sort of. Well, I say we. It's probably more me because I'm the one that tries to crack these kind of stupid jokes. But I always say it was like we booked her in for an MOT because we knew exactly the time when Margot was going to be born, because it was planned. So it was like, this is your time. This is your time slot. This is when your baby will be born, pretty much. So we got her booked in for an MOT, and then it all just kind of happened. There was a bit of trouble getting the epidural. Like that took a little while just to get that into the right spot. Lizzie's put click and collect baby. Yeah, she pretty much was a click and collect, But also there was a bit of a curveball. Like the day that we was going to go into the hospital to have Margot, the doctors. Well, I had a missed call on my phone, and it was from an unknown number, and I was like, who would be calling me at this time in the morning? It was like 7 in the morning or something like that. And I was like, oh, it's probably my nan. She's probably just calling to wish us luck. So I just like ignored it because I was like, let's just get you to the hospital. And then when I got to the hospital, Lizzie had a call, and it was from them, and they were basically calling to say that Lizzie had swabs before she went into the hospital, and that she'd somehow caught COVID. So then so it went from, okay, we're going to go in and it's going to be straightforward, we're going to have the baby and whatnot, to no, you're going to be isolated from everyone. You're going to be in a room on your own, but if I leave the room, I'm not allowed back in. And it was all, so it added like a certain layer of stress. In that sense, like, I couldn't even go to like get Lizzie a bottle of water from another room. Like if I left the room, that was me done. I couldn't be there again.
Locked in.
It was like proper, obviously quite high alert due to COVID and stuff, which is fair enough, but it certainly added a layer of stress for us. But
But
Yeah.
When Margot sort of came out and she didn't have it
No,
didn't
no,
affect Margot.
no. Margot was absolutely fine. Obviously, because of COVID, we was all in the room. All the doctors were there. We all had masks on, and they handed Margot to me straight away. And I sort of, they took me to another room, and they sort of cleaned Margot up and that sort of thing. And then I came back with Margot in my arms, but because I had the mask on, Lizzie was like, "Who are you?" Because she was sort of on the
Yeah.
gas and air and all that sort of thing. And I was like, "It's me!" But because everyone had masks on, she didn't realise it was me that was actually holding Margot. And I was like, "This is Margot." And we sort of sat down and stuff. But yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, I don't think anything can prepare yourself for that. Obviously, like before we had Margot, I love and respected Lizzie, as a person. But then that feeling just went up even more, like, because she gave me like the greatest gift that you could ever have, like, for me. So yeah, it was a very, very special moment. But pleased to say that the MOT went quite well. So how about you, mate? How did you get on? Was Connie a C-section as well?
Yeah, Connie was a C-section as well. So my experience was similar to a point. Obviously, whilst it was still in COVID times, we were fortunate enough that we didn't have the strict COVID protocol that you had because of Lizzie having it. But yeah, no, it was a really weird experience, but an amazing one at the same time. So obviously, with the C-section, they have like a massive curtain up, sort of just from the sort of, I don't know what you call that part of the chest
midriff
down, so you can't see what's going on. You can't see what's being cut out. And I was like holding Connie's hand, and I honestly, like, the way they were like pulling her insides around, I could just feel her whole body shaking where they were really like pulling at her. And she was like on cloud 9 because she gas and air. Do you know what I mean? Same thing. And I just remember them and pulling him out, and they were like, oh, he's trying to cry, he's trying, and then I started. You hear that first cry, and like you can't speak, like you just get like completely choked up, and then I just saw this little head come up where they held him up over the curtain, and you just think, oh my god, I actually have I have a human. Like,
yeah, it's such a trip.
You can't really describe it. And then they sort of took me round. It was in the same room, but they took me round where they put him in this little bowl, and he was pissing, just lying there, and not crying and pissing. And the nurse was like, "Do you want him to have vitamin K?" And I was just like, "Isn't that a breakfast cereal?" And I was just like, "I don't know. Do kids normally have vitamin K?" And she was just like, "Yeah." And I was just like, "Sure, just give it to him then." I don't know. And anyway, then she was like, "Go sit back down, and I'll bring him round." So I went and sat back down next to Connie, and I felt guilty because Connie was like off her tits on the gas and air. They gave him to me first, and I felt a bit guilty because I was like, "Oh, I almost feel like the mother should be the first one that holds him because it's like they're the one that's carried him for 9 months and whatnot." So I felt a little bit guilty, but then when they'd like patched her back up and were wheeling around into a room, then they were like, "Oh, you can have him now." So I mean, obviously it felt amazing holding him, but I was really pleased when he was finally handed over to his mum.
And then you was like, any of that cereal left? Can I have a bowl of that Special K?
Yeah, I fancy that now.
I'm a bit stressed. I really fancy a bowl of Special K. Just a quick one, lads.
Kirsty's beef stroganoff that she was having. She wasn't allowed to eat during the labour, and they just brought her lunch in. There was this beef stroganoff sat on the side.
Just a quick one. We've got Richie Boy in the chat. He says, "I don't think anything can replace that feeling of the first cuddle that you have with your son or your daughter. It's absolute. Yeah, it's crazy. But like you said, because I think because Lizzie was a C-section as well. I guess, like you say, because for lack of a better term, like you said, they've got to patch the mum back up. The dad is like the one that gets to hold the baby first, I guess. But yeah, like it was like I said, because I had the mask on, Lizzie didn't realise it was me holding Margaret at first, but we sort of sat together, and I sort of held her next to Lizzie, and it was quite a special moment. But yeah, it was, you know, once the dust had settled and we got back to the room and stuff, and then she was like sat in her little bed and whatnot next to Lizzie. It was like, well, this is it now. Do you know what I mean? The journey begins. And there's no rule book, is there? There's no one that really tells you what to do. And then it was like, okay, well, she's just shit herself, so someone's got to clear that up, and I guess that's going to be me.
Do you remember
the black tar?
The
black...
Yeah.
Nothing can prepare you for that.
So weird.
Yeah, we got Boyce in the chat saying, "How was the first poos?" That's good. That's good time. Yeah, I mean, nothing really prepares you for that, because it literally was like you could tarmac a road with it. It was like it was unreal.
I'll be honest. With George, I asked for help.
Oh, wait a second.
I said to the nurse, I said, I genuinely don't think I can do this. Can you help?
The other thing I didn't realise, right? And again, I mean, maybe people did tell me. Maybe it's in a book somewhere. Probably is. I didn't read the books. Hands up. But I didn't know that like a little length of the umbilical cord stays, and they just like tape it down.
Yeah,
It's got like a sandwich clip on it, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it's there for like a couple of weeks, isn't it? Until it just drops off.
It just rots away, doesn't it? But that's what I wanted to go back to, because you told me the story about. I guess it was with George, because it was, you know, a few years back that you told me, Ollie. But because they said to me, like, "Do you want to cut the cord?" And I said, "Yeah, go on then." I just thought that's what you do. But Ollie, what did you say when they asked you to do it?
I said, "No, I'll leave it to the professionals. Thank you very much. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not cutting into my wife. I'll let someone else do that."
Imagine that, like, you know, just going there and doing someone else's job.
Yeah.
You could have done it. Have you ever seen a film called Freddy Got Fingered, where he sort of goes into the delivery room and he sort of like just bites it?
No.
Right, let's add that to the list. We've got to watch that before the next episode, all right?
Yeah, do it. Watch it before the next episode.
Everyone that's in chat as well. Oh, that is absolute gold. So that was the births. I mean, did you guys have to stay in the hospital like overnight or for a few days?
Well, I wasn't allowed to stay in overnight because it was still COVID protocol to that extent. So I had to drive home and come back each morning. But to be honest with you, because it's quite an overwhelming thing, I actually kind of appreciated just having a bit of space. And I got home that first night, and bless my neighbour, a lady called Dora. She saw me pull up on the drive, and she'd made some kind of like Hungarian dish.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a similar to like a cottage pie type thing.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that.
That's cool.
So, what about you?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, because obviously, similar situation. I wasn't, once I'd kind of left the hospital, I wasn't allowed back in. But Ollie, was it that night or was it the night after? We had a gig, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think it might have been.
God,
I think it might have been the night that Margot was born. So I had to be out of the hospital.
It was at Coyote's Bar and Grill.
Coyote's Bar and Grill in Peterborough. R.I.P. It's now no longer there. But so
we did My Girl, didn't we?
Oh wait, sorry. Lizzie's in the chat. She said no. It's the night we came home. So yeah, okay. It was the night we came home. That night, that special night where I should have been there supporting Lizzie. I went out and played a gig. But
you got to do what you got to do. The mortgage isn't going to pay itself, Louis.
This is true. Not all heroes wear capes. Some of them perform at Coyote's Bar and Grill. But yeah, so we did that, and like Ollie said, we did a terrible version probably of My Girl by the Temptations.
So Ollie, for hang on. So George is the eldest, isn't it? George is the eldest.
George is the eldest, 4 years old. Yeah.
So when he was born, so we were kind of in the aftermath of COVID, but you were like right in the thick of it, I guess, right?
So I was really lucky. If it was a week earlier, I wouldn't have been allowed in at all until after the birth, I think, even, or maybe just for the. Had a bit more access, so I wasn't allowed in when she was in triage, but when she went into the delivery room, I was allowed in.
Right.
And like I say, from the time that I got there and we got settled down, it was about 20 minutes before he was born. And the first night, I had to leave. I wasn't allowed to stay. But for Betty, the second time round, I was allowed to stay, and I attempted to sleep in the chair and it got to about 2 o'clock in the morning, and Kirsten was like, "No, you go home. You get the rest of the night sleep." So even with Betty, I went home anyway and rested up, and they were two of the best nights sleep I've had it ever since.
I do need to tell you guys something funny though, because I've not really spent much time in hospitals. Like, I've just not really, it's not something I've ever had to do. So when we was obviously preparing for Lizzie to go down to like the operating room, I guess for the C-section, I had to put like scrubs on and stuff, and I didn't realise that they just sort of went over your actual clothes. So I've got into like the bathroom in the room, and like basically took all my clothes off and put the scrubs on. And Lizzie was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Isn't this what you do? Like, I've never been in a hospital." I thought you had to take all your clothes off. So I was there just in the scrubs with like no clothes on underneath. And she was like, "Go back in and put your fucking clothes on."
Didn't someone give you some sort of direction, like before?
Well,
Or did they just hand them to you and say, "Put these
It
on"?
would have been put these on, wouldn't it?
Because it was COVID, it was just like, yeah, you chucked you in a room. Oh, put these on before you go down to the operating room, sort of thing. And I didn't know. Like, obviously Lizzie was dealing with her own stuff, the fact that she was going to be giving birth in a few hours and whatever. So I was like, I won't bother her. I'll just go in and sort myself out. And she's like, "Where are your clothes?" And I was like they're in there. So I was just there like naked underneath, not naked, but like
Yeah.
Well,
That was your first skin to skin, was it?
What, with me and Lizzie? Yeah. No, Lizzie's put. To be honest, the hospital were awful with us, and I'm surprised they gave us any scrubs. Yeah, I must admit. I mean, obviously, we know that the NHS are under a lot of stress and stuff, but it was particularly bad during COVID, and yeah, there was a lot of bits that happened during and after the pregnancy and stuff that were, looking back on it now, you're like, actually that wasn't great.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like the aftercare and all that sort of stuff. But I'm just having a look to see if we missed anything in the chat here, but it looks like everyone's having a good time.
We had a pretty good experience in that regard because we went to Hitchinbrook in Huntingdon.
That's a good hospital. That.
That's where Connie worked at the time.
VIP treatment.
Yeah, pretty much. But no. I mean, it was. She didn't actually know many of the people on the labour ward because that's not the ward she works on. But yeah, no, it was still we still were lucky. We had a good experience.
I'm just having a quick look. So the next thing that you got on the list here, David, is the first few weeks. So guys, you've walked out of the hospital. You've got your baby in your hand. You put them in the car seat, which is like terrifying, isn't it? You making sure that they're strapped in properly.
How slowly did you drive home? How slowly did you boys drive home that first drive?
Yeah, it's a terrifying.
We live about 10 minutes away from the hospital. It definitely took me nearly half an hour.
Yeah. You just want to make sure that there's like no other vehicles on the road at the time. Precious cargo.
It's a weird feeling when you get them in the house for the first time, isn't it?
Yeah, because then you really are. It's like, okay, well, now it's real. Like, we've got to actually feed and water this baby, and change their nappy and do everything that all those little things that come with raising a human. And there is literally no one there to guide you. Like you say, there are books probably, but every kid's different, as we know. And you're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants, really, aren't you?
So, for most people probably won't know, but Connie's from Zimbabwe originally. And in Zimbabwe, in her culture, what would normally happen is that she would go with the baby and stay with her mum for a few weeks, or it might even be like a month or something. It's quite a bit of time, and the mum obviously would help Connie settle in to the beginning of motherhood, but sadly Connie's parents have passed like quite a few years ago.
Mm.
So what happened is we had her cousin come and stay. So we had a cousin come and stay. Then when her cousin left, one of her sisters came for a few days, and then when that one had to leave, another sister came. So yeah, in that regard, that was how she had that
support
similar
network.
kind of support network. Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool though. I think that is a nice, especially for Connie. It must have been quite comforting for her to know that she had that. Obviously, she's got yourself, but having the support of her family and stuff as well is like a big thing, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Well, truthfully, when the last sister left that was planned to come and stay, I can't remember the order. That's a bit fuzzy, but Connie did have a little bit of just a small sort of breakdown and cry, sort of realizing this is it now. Like
Yep.
we're on our own.
Mm-hmm.
We're two parents. We've got to do this. We've got to look after. It is an overwhelming feeling when you're like, right, we've got to do it now. Like all of
Yeah.
the talk and the thinking about it is over. We're doing it. We're in the deep end.
You're in the trenches, aren't you? It's like that's it now.
In the trenches.
No, but that is like and you're in it together. When it's like those sleepless nights and stuff, like that's when it's a real test on your partnership, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the first few weeks for us, it was a bit up and down because, like I said, there was some aftercare issues with the hospital that we had to deal with Lizzie. Like where her C-section was, she had some issues like with the stitches and stuff. The doctors basically told her that the stitches that she'd have were dissolvable stitches, and it turns out they weren't dissolvable stitches. and then so she'd sort of like spoke to the hospital, and they was like, oh, we'll send a nurse out to come and like take a look at them. And then the nurse called Lizzie and was like, oh, do you have any forceps at home to take the stitches out? And Lizzie was like, well, no, like surely that's something you would have, right? So they basically asked us if we had like the tools to take care of it for her. So yeah, there was a few aftercare issues and stuff, so that was a bit challenging.
Did you have to give these injections into the stomach?
Injections?
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't. Oh wait,
The
that's
blood
funny.
clotting.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Boise's just said that in the chat. Did you have to do those injections?
I
Yes,
didn't have
we
to
did.
do it, but Kirsty did.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Connie asked me to. Well, so fortunately, her sisters and cousin did it for the most part. But once they'd gone, Connie was like, "You're up. You're gonna need to do it." And I was like, "Oh."
How was that? Was that quite nerve-wracking? Like,
It was really nerve-wracking. I was so concerned about hurting her, either going too hard or not going hard enough, and then the needle like bending.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was
wouldn't-
stressed out about it.
yeah. So Lizzie said you had to do it for 6 weeks, and I wouldn't go near them. I just don't think I'd trust myself doing it. Like,
We were supposed to do them for 6 weeks. I think we managed about 4 days
yeah.
and then stopped.
Oh, really?
Well, Kirsty's still here to tell the tale, so like she's obviously survived.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
think-
it's mad actually. Now you've mentioned it, there's like certain things that I've just gone from my recollection of it all, and that was one of it. I don't remember doing that, but yeah, now you've mentioned it, I do.
Yeah.
I guess after, well, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about your first few weeks, Ollie, because then the next thing we're going to talk about is like the struggles after the first few weeks, isn't it? So, how did you guys settle
First
into
few
it?
weeks were right. I mean, it was intense for sure, and like having to sort of come to terms with it. But luckily, we have family quite close. My parents are 5 minutes down the road, and it was locked down in the thick of it. But they just introduced the bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember that the Boris Johnson idea of you have a little family bubble. So we
Do you have people over
ended up
for
having-
bubble tea? Sorry.
we d- yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, no. So we created 2 family bubbles. rather than the mandated one. I don't feel too bad about it, given
I
all the
wouldn't.
stuff that was actually going on at that time in Diamond Street. But um, yeah, and we had the parents round, see them, and it was it was intense, but we managed it one day at a time. I think it's just about communicating and talking your way through it and being there to help each other.
And again, being the only one of us that's had got this sort of unique experience amongst us three that has gone through it a second time, how did it differ when you already had one child those first few
Honestly,
weeks?
uh, the second time round when we had George as well, it was so much easier.
Oh,
It was just
really?
we because by that point nothing phases you. You've
Mm.
seen it all before, apart from the fact it was a baby girl rather than a baby boy.
Hmm.
And I don't know about you. Well, wait, Louis doesn't have this problem, but you do. Getting poo out of a ball bag it is just it's something I never thought I'd have to do in my life. It is the weirdest and most difficult thing to do, particularly on those early poos where it's still like tar and you don't know how hard to push it to get it out. But
The topper is
girls,
so
cleaning
weird.
girls' nappies are so easy
Is it?
comparatively. Yeah, it's just like cleaning a
You can only go.
whiteboard. You just
You can only go in one direction with a girl, though, right?
it's only in a certain area, of course.
Yeah,
As long as you're going away from that one bit, then you're all right. I
Right.
think is all fun.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, this is something I've never had to consider really.
yeah,
Cleaning poo out of a
honestly,
scrotum.
Never had to do
there's
that
so
to
many
yourself.
creases.
Yeah, we've all been there. Haven't we? We've all been there. I had a quick shower before this podcast.
So yeah, no. The second time round, I personally I found it easier. We were in a routine, and who changes the dirty nappies and whatever else it was never an issue. It was literally just like we'll do it. Let's get on,
I,
get it
I,
done. Kirsty the second time round afterwards was I think a bit more worn out, so I took up a bit more of the mantle in terms of nappies, the changes, the feeding, and whatever else in the evenings. That's another thing. Were you booby feds or bottles?
Connie was breastfeeding for the first 6 months, which actually kind of brings me into the sort of final point I wanted to talk about on this first episode, which is like when you start moving out of those magical first few weeks and you start settling into it. Um, because he was breastfed, he was so intensely bonded to Connie, like massively. And I'm not a natural of kids. I'll be honest. Like I'm not really a kid person, and until you have your own. Um, and we really struggled to bond, me and him. And I think sort of not being able to feed him was, played. And don't get me wrong, there's no resentment on my part. Connie wanted to breastfeed, she was able to. I know not all women are able to. It doesn't always work. Um, and I was perfectly happy for that, but because we didn't bond, I sort of got quite depressed. He would play up a lot more for me. Like he would sort of not just cry when I'd hold him; he'd scream. Um, and there were times where I would just start crying. I just burst into tears, like sort of standing by myself in the kitchen because it was almost quite an ordeal. And then sort of as I sort of started to feel like I was just getting to grips with everything, Connie sort of said to me, "Oh, my work friends have asked to go for a meal. Do you mind if I go?" And I was like, "Yeah, look, you go out. This is your first opportunity for a night out. You go out, you enjoy yourself." And I think she was only gone for like 3 hours max. And 10, 15 minutes into her leaving, he was crying. So I was like trying everything, trying to burp him. I was trying to rock him, sing to him. At this point, because she'd gone out, she did leave me some expressed milk. Tried to feed him. Nothing was working. He was screaming his head off, and I sort of thought, "What the hell?" I haven't tried changing his nappy. It must be that. So I laid him down on this sofa, this very sofa here, which, as you can see, is a very sort of light cream color.
I can see where you're going with this.
Didn't put any kind of mat down, and I took off the nappy, and at the moment I opened it, he sort of shot projectile shit out of his ass all across, like liquid shit all across this like cream white sofa, and I was on so stressed out, and honestly, the whole time I kept thinking, I need to call her, I need to get her back, but at the same time, my brain was saying, you can't,
you don't want to be that guy.
You just got to deal with it, and I got through it, but when she came through the door, I sort of was just like, there you go. I was like a broken shell of a man at that point.
That's just reminded me, David. Next time I come to your house, remind me not to sit on that chair that you're sitting.
Oh, mate, the clean-up job that I had to do, I was so stressed out while I was cleaning it.
But going back to what you were saying about, like, obviously, you know, the fact that like Connie obviously was breastfeeding at the time. I guess when it's your newborn, the only thing that they really want at that stage is to be fed, right? And to be changed, obviously, the nappy changed. So that is like a huge part of their day is being fed. And obviously, if you weren't, if it was only Connie that was contributing to that, like you said, it must have been quite isolating for you. And to admit that and stuff is like, you know, how vulnerable you've been is admirable, because a lot of dads go through that, you know.
Yeah, it was a really, really tough time for me, and frankly, I think, you know, Connie would have gone on breastfeeding him a little bit longer, but I think she could see how much it was affecting me.
Yeah.
And I think because of it, she at 6 months she's like, look, I'm going to put a stop to it now.
Yeah.
We'll move on to formula. And you know, I don't want to get too far into that. I want to sort of save the progression for future episodes, but that's when that things really started to change for the better really quickly from that point.
I do vividly remember you messaging me around that time, like those first, you know, few weeks, few months sort of thing, and you were saying to me like, how are you getting on? Are you like connecting with Margot and stuff? And I guess because ours was quite different, Lizzie tried breastfeeding for like literally like a couple of hours, and it just didn't, like, it was, again, because of like the heart issues and stuff, it was like having a baby feeding off of her was making her feel like poorly in a way. It was like sapping all of her energy and stuff like that. So we kind of went to formula quite early on, and for me that was like a huge part of the bonding, because all she wanted was feeding and a nappy changing. And obviously if they're on formula from that age, it meant I could be hands on straight away. So I remember you texting me saying like, how are you getting on? Do you feel like you're connecting and stuff? And I felt bad, because obviously our situations were quite different, because I was able to feed her and stuff. I I felt like we had that sort of connection like quite early on. But I remember saying to you and stuff like you know, try not to worry about it, because it will all fall into place. Because you know what I'm like, I'm sort of a glass half full kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want you to feel like low about it or whatever. I wanted to support you through it and stuff. But yeah, being open and vulnerable like you are, I think it's a good thing, mate, like that you've done that and shared that with the people that are listening, and you know, I'm sure that will help other people that may be feeling the same way as you did.
Yeah, I hope so. And you know, I'm sure another big part of it is that I didn't have much confidence about it. You know, like he could probably sense everything about having a newborn made me nervous. So there was probably that aspect of it too.
Yeah, I think we're all three of us are prone to kind of overthinking situations, perhaps. And you know, for us to think that a newborn is thinking that they can sense that we're not, you know, being a good dad or whatever, is probably just us overthinking it.
I mean, from my experiences, there is a massive difference between boys and girls, and I think boys are way more just feed, poo, feed, poo, whereas baby Betty, and I don't know if it was the same with Margot, but from the get-go was way more responsive and sort of inquisitive as to what's going on around her. And like even at a very young age was sort of grabbing, touching, feeling, and reacting, whereas George was just a lemon, and it still is a lemon, to be honest. Do you know, just sort of at that time he literally didn't do anything, and like, not that I wanted him to be like a sort of to play football with me straight away or anything like that. But it was way more challenging to bond with George as a baby compared to Betty, and maybe there is some sort of similarities or differences between genders.
And just like on that subject as well, because obviously, like, you know, when you had Betty, obviously George was there, and you know, very much part of it. How was he when Betty came along? Like, did he warm to Betty straight away, or did it take him a while? Because obviously your attention is then spread across both children. You know, how did he react to that? Like, you know.
Yeah, George Russell, he's been really, really good actually. There was one or two little behavioural things where he'd show up occasionally or sort of go a bit mental, but
just to be expected,
for the most
right?
part, exactly. And we were so geared up for that and aware of it. But yeah, he was very hands-on and would help with feeding her and doing her hair and that, and they take baths together and play in the bath and whatever else. It's been really good. We try and keep him involved in it as much as possible, because
I think that's the key, isn't it? If you have, if you know, obviously I don't, because we only have Margot, and same as you know, David and Connie only have Ellis. But I think just making sure that they're both involved and both, you know, you're sharing that experience as a whole family. You know, getting them involved.
Yeah,
like
plus he's happy he's got the bigger bedroom. She's only got the little.
Yeah. I just want to quickly go to the chat because we've got a couple of questions. Big man Boise in the chat, he's saying, getting chucked up on. Have any of us been like thrown up on, like any memorable instances?
Oh, I mean, for me there were no memorable ones because it happened all the time.
Yeah.
Like I
It's just
remember
a normality.
I remember thinking, you know, 3 weeks before he was born, I'd never heard the word muslin.
Yeah.
To using it 37,000 times in a day. Chuck us a muslin. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
always just throwing up.
Yeah. But by the end of it, I felt like, you know, one of those clowns where they just pull out a long like stream of muslin from his pocket, just like an unlimited stream of it. But yeah, I don't remember any sort of memorable ones, but I just remember thinking like there is no point in wearing any nice item of clothing because I might as well just wear like the most rancid shirt known to man because I'm just going to be sicked on like multiple times a day.
Yeah.
And one of the other questions that he's put, using sterilizers. I mean, that I don't know what you guys use, but we had like one that you put in a microwave, and it, you know, like to sterilize bottles and stuff.
Prep machines.
Prep machines are good. Yeah,
prep machine was lifesaver.
Did you guys use that?
How was like a steaming one?
Steamer
type thing.
Yeah. Are you on about the thing that made formula, Ollie? The prep machine for that? Yeah.
Yeah. Just using one of them at 1 o'clock in the morning to make the bottle rather than going downstairs and putting the kettle on and having to wait half hour was
that's
total game changer.
So they're like coffee machines, right?
But it makes
coffee machines for
just the right temperature. Yeah.
I suppose you probably didn't need one when
initially.
He was breastfed initially.
But yeah, they are an absolute godsend. I felt like I was like some sort of barista at Costa or something. Yeah, what another cow and gate on the go. Yeah, here we go.
We went to a
cocktail.
We went to like a December wedding, and it was right close to Christmas, right? And obviously, Ellis was born in the end of October, so Connie was still like in the thick of breastfeeding at this point, and it was he was with my mum, because the wedding was sort of close to my sort of neck of the woods where I sort of grew up, and I remember Connie would keep nudging me. Like, we had a room, we were staying there the night, it was our first night away from him, and she was like nudging me, she's like, fucking tits are full, I've got to go and express. She's like, so we had to keep going back to the room so she could just empty them.
Oh my goodness! Well, that's probably a good time. Boyce's full of questions in the chat. He said, "Did anyone try? Did anyone try breast milk?"
Connie, I did try it. Yeah, to be honest.
What, like in a cup of tea or just neat? Like
Bitty. No, it's just like because I think she had like a little syringe.
Yeah,
She'd like a little
Yeah,
bit was just on
expressing
from the
it,
end,
yeah.
and I thought, look, it's not going to kill me, is it? And I was just like, I felt weird about it, but then also the other part of my mind was thinking I probably shouldn't feel weird about it because it's just a totally natural
it's
thing,
natural. Yeah.
right?
I mean, we drink
It's really
cow's
I
milk.
good for
tried
you as
it.
well.
We
It's got
drink
it's,
cow's milk
you,
for crying out loud. Like, what's weirder, drinking a cow's milk or drinking like a human's milk? That's the same thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
one of my mates. They his wife used to freeze in ice cubes.
Yeah, you can do that, can't you? You can
breast
do that.
milk.
Right.
And then if you get a cut or something, she'd put it on her kids' cuts.
But it retains all of its like
it's antiseptic and a load of like antibodies and stuff.
and it retains all of its goodness if it's frozen, doesn't it? Like,
Does it?
Yeah, it's meant to be really good for you.
I'm just having a
Not
look.
that I regularly consume it.
We've got Streamboat in the chat. My good friend Mr. Ben. He's put he tried breast milk accidentally in a night of passion. He said, "Absolute geezer."
That doesn't sound so accidental to me. It was an accident. I tripped and my mouth fell
onto Bitty.
Yeah.
And then, Lizzie made a good point. We did actually use it when Margot was really, really young. She had baby acne, and like you said, Ollie, we used it on her acne, and it cleared it up. The medicinal purposes of breast milk is like second to none. It's like so good. So if you ever break out in acne, just whack the old bitty out, and there you go.
I swear I've been going wrong all these years.
I knew a girl once who her baby, after like a few months of breastfeeding, he was massive. Like he was colossal. He grew just into this huge baby, like one of the biggest babies I've ever seen, right? And she was getting DMs from bodybuilders saying, "Can I buy your breast milk?" Because like they figured it must have had some like crazy growth hormone in it. Growth hormone.
That is amazing.
That's
And how much did she make from that then? Did she sell it?
I don't know if she ever went on with that side hustle, but
what would you call,
the world is
call
such
it?
a weird place, isn't it?
Yeah,
What would you call it? Like only boobs or something like that? Subscription service to the breast milk in the business. Right, here we go. We're going off piste again, aren't we?
Yeah.
Boyce's put side boob hustle.
I like that.
So the last point that we've got on the list here to talk about is the struggles after the initial honeymoon period of those first few weeks, and we'll talk about like those little bits, and then maybe we'll wrap it up, and then we'll go on to the next.
So I've already sort of gone over my struggles already, so that was that for me.
Yeah.
So I guess if one of you guys wants to take it away on that.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, sorry, Ollie, I don't know if you wanted to come in there first, but the biggest struggle that we had was a few months after Margot was born. Lizzie actually came to one of our gigs. Me and Ollie were playing a gig, probably one of the worst gigs we've ever played. I don't know if you remember it, Ollie. It was at the Cooper's Arms. No, was it called the Coopers in Breton?
Yeah.
Is it the Coopers?
Yeah. Yeah, the Coopers in Breton, where we had things thrown at us.
Yep, they were throwing. There was like scatter cushions in a pit in a bay window, and they were throwing these pillows at our guitarist, and one of them hit him on the back of the head, and he hit his mouth on the microphone. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke, by the way. But anyway, so it was one of the worst gigs we've ever played, and then we came home from that gig. We picked Margot up on the way because she was at my in-laws. Lizzie took Margot to bed. I went out to the car to bring in my equipment, And as I came in, Lizzie was like screaming on the stairs, and my first thought was like, "Where's Margot? Is she all right?" And she was like, "Margot's in bed." And then I looked down, and like Lizzie's ankle was like pointing in the other direction, and I was like, "What the hell has happened?" I was like, and she'd taken Margot to bed. She was coming back downstairs, and our dog Ringo had like walked past her on the stairs, but like caught her leg and sent her flying, and horrifically broke her ankle like in pretty much every place that you could imagine, multiple breaks all around her foot and ankle, and so she was in hospital for 2 weeks. Again, it was like COVID time, so it was depending on which nurse was on the ward on any given day would determine whether I could go in to see Lizzie with Margot. Like one nurse would say no one's allowed in, and then you go the next day and the nurse is like, yes, fine, like bring your daughter up to see your wife and stuff. And it was the most stressful time, and it was like very much sink or swim for me, because it was like I went from being like 50-50, like sharing the load with Lizzie, to all of a sudden 100%. I'm doing everything: feeding, changing, bedtime, bath time, nap times, everything, while Lizzie was in hospital, obviously. And it was like, looking back on it now, it was I guess I think it made me a better dad, because I just had to do it all, just learn and just quit.
Yeah.
I think
trial by fire, that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I think it just sort of expedited the whole process, because I was like, okay, well, I guess I just have to do all this now. But yeah, so that was like the most challenging thing, and then obviously once Lizzie come home, then it was a lot of time for her to heal and get fully comfortable walking again and stuff like that. So I guess the one of the most challenging things is that Lizzie felt like a lot of her maternity leave was taken up by that, which I know she still struggles with now, because when she reflects back on it, maternity leave, when you're meant to be spending all that time with your baby and doing all these nice things, and she felt like a lot of it was spent basically healing, essentially. So
I remember you talking about it quite a lot at the time, about her struggling with sort of, because Margot bonded with you a bit more during that.
I think so,
than she would have done with Lizzie, and she felt like she missed out on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, which is quite a unique thing, because like you said, like generally speaking, most children, obviously, they have that strong maternal connection with the mum, right? And I think through no fault of her own, like that was kind of taken away from Lizzie by being in the hospital for 2 weeks and stuff. So, but I mean, she's very much back to being a mummy's girl, and it depends what day of the week you catch her on. Some days she's a daddy's girl, some days she's a mummy's girl. But yeah, I think we'll probably talk about that maybe in more detail in another episode. But that was certainly a challenging period for us, but we got through it, and we're still here. And you know me, there's always like a joke at the end of it, and we always have a laugh at the end of it. So, but yeah, that was the most challenging thing for me.
I'm trying to think what the most challenging thing for me was. Possibly having differences of opinions across different sides of the family, and people wanting to weigh in over how things should or shouldn't be done.
That's a good one.
And what priorities were. There was a lot of diplomacy going on around us at that time, when me and Kirsten, we were very much, our mindset has always been with the kids is they lead us on how when they want to be fed, when they want to go to sleep, that kind of thing. We've never been strict, rigid. This is bedtime. This is feed time. This is da 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 da. And I think that differed a lot to what other people in our family wanted us to be doing with the kids, and how they wanted or thought they should be raised.
That's a difficult one, that, isn't it? Because a lot of people say kids crave and benefit from routine. Kids, but, on the flip side of that is routine. Kids. But, oh, sorry, I was getting a delay back from my mic there for a second, but it seems to have stopped. But on the flip side of that is that you can become a slave to that routine, and like, did you find that you guys got caught up in that, where you were like, oh, we can't do this at this time because kids got to sleep between these times, or anything like that?
That's exactly what we were trying to avoid.
Yeah.
And we did. avoid that for the most part. We've never stopped ourselves from doing something because of the time of day or whatever else. It's
and I think that's the right approach.
Our relationships benefit way more from that with our kids because there's no resentment there, but they're not stopping us from doing anything. If you want to come with us, you come out with us. We go do X, Y, and Z.
I think that I remember me and Lizzie having that conversation, like, while she was pregnant, because I think we'd sort of known like certain people, like in our family, for example, that had kids and stuff, and like you said, their life changed so dramatically when they had kids, and they almost felt governed, like the kid governed what they were allowed to do and not to do, And me and Lizzie, we just sort of looked at her and was like, we don't want to be like that, really. Like, we want Margot to be an addition to our life, so like she'll join us in doing things that we like to do, rather than us having to fit around the kid. Like this. I won't name names. It's actually a friend of a friend, so they probably wouldn't ever watch this or listen to this. But I remember a friend told me that he was meeting up with a group of friends, and they were all getting together, and they were all bringing their kids because they were, got to a point they were all a little bit older, and they'd all had kids, and they thought it'd be a nice idea to meet up and get all the kids together and stuff. And one of their friends, wherever they were meeting, they parked their car in this car park, and for whatever reason, I think the lift was broken in the car park, so they couldn't get the pram down the lift. So instead of like going down the ramp that was in the car park, they just got in the car and went home. And I was like, that's mad, because like they panicked because like something wasn't how they imagined it would be. Like the lift was broken, so they just had a complete meltdown and was like, that's it, we've got to go home. And I remember hearing that, and I thought, no, I don't ever want to be like that. It's like, if that happened to us, I'd just figure something else out and we'd still enjoy ourselves, like. And then my friend was telling me that apparently they used to have a spreadsheet, and they'd put all sorts of stuff on there, like you were saying about times when the baby should be fed, and everything went on the spreadsheet and stuff. And I get it, like certain kids that does work for, I guess. If there's kids that have like certain, where they need to be fed at certain times for medical reasons and things like that. But this kid was just like a typical healthy little kid. But everything they'd done was by the spreadsheet, and it's like, this is a child. This isn't a project. This isn't like a.
They use pivot tables.
I'm pretty sure they probably did. Yeah. Like V lookup on what time the kid needs to go to bed and stuff like that. No. Like, I was just like, man, that just seems like just so overkill. Like everything was put into this spreadsheet, and they're basically raising like a little project,
Each to their own, I suppose. If it works for them, that's great. Yeah. But I kind of hate the idea of turning down something that you want to do because you become a slave to that routine.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think like, just for example, like this weekend just gone, Easter weekend, me and Ollie had a gig. We had Kirsty and Lizzie at the gig with all of our kids there, enjoying the music, dancing together. And like when me and Lizzie were, and I'm guessing like Kirsty and Ollie were the same, but like that's when the thought of having kids, that's what I imagined, them being part of what we do. And like me and Ollie were saying at the weekend, it's like so rewarding. Like when we was playing at the weekend, I couldn't even remember what songs we were playing, because we were just so like in awe of our kids.
I remember what songs we were playing at the best of times. But yeah, no, I was literally, I've never made more mistakes.
Because we're just enjoying the kids.
Yeah, but it was because I was just transfixed on them dancing and having a good time. It was great.
But it's nice just to see how they're like, integrated into our lives and stuff. And it's exciting to see where that's going to go. We've all spoken about then the struggles after the honeymoon period?
Yeah.
Well, obviously we've had a bit of a chat now. I'm just having a look. So we've been going about an hour and a half. Can you believe that already? An hour and a half.
I mean,
just before
I finished eating the golden retriever a good hour ago, I think.
You need a second one.
Yeah.
Where are the
No,
puppies?
I can't lie. I felt pretty sick afterwards, but I was determined to finish it.
You start. Yeah, it's like Mastermind. You started, so you finish. I'm gonna call the RSPCA after that, I reckon. I tell you what, this is a nice. I think this is a nice little one to end on. Big man Boise, I think he's going to be our absolute hero of the stream for all these questions. Let's give him one of these. You guys won't be able to hear this, but I'm doing the cheesy air horn that you get in streams. I've just played that noise several times. Big man Boise has said, and I think this is a good one to end on. In 5 words, how are your lives changed pre and post birth? So can you sum it up in 5 words, like how having a child has changed your life? We're drummers, we can only count to 4. Yeah, so he said, let me see this. He's put in 5 words, how are your lives changed pre and post birth? I think we should just say how our lives has changed since having kids. I think just say since we've had kids. I think how has your life changed in 5 words? Or
who wants to go first?
I guess it doesn't have to be.
I don't have that wider ranging vocabulary to find.
Maybe it doesn't have to be like a 5 words that make a sentence. It could be like tired, exhausted, poor, no money. But yeah, what words would you sum up? I mean, one that's
strained.
Strained. Okay, yeah, strained. Ollie, can you think of a word?
I've actually thought 5 words.
He's got 5 words. Go on. Well, we'll leave it to you, mate.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
Roller coaster? A roller coaster of emotions. Is that 4? I don't know.
Is it?
I can't even count.
4, yeah.
That's 4, I think.
Yeah, it is. I'm a drummer. I can only count to 4. That's the problem.
It's enriched for sure.
Enriched
is another one.
Enriched. Roller coaster. Yeah, would you go with roller coaster? I think is a good
growth.
One. Roller coaster is the one.
Growth. Yeah. Character building.
Exhaustion.
Yeah,
is another one for sure. You said exhausted, so was that the first one you used?
The limits, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's go over again. So roller coaster, exhausted. What did you say? Growth.
Patience. That's something I've had to learn.
Patience. Yeah. And character building.
Yeah.
Well, is that a double barreled? I don't know.
It'll never be the same.
But that was really good. I really enjoyed that, lads. And
well, I'm gonna finish on a question for you boys, and this is I don't want you to answer it today. I want you to take this away, think about it, and you're gonna answer it at the start of the next pod.
Wait a second. Before you ask this as well, can we get the people that are tuning into the live stream? Can they interact with this as well?
Please do.
So if they come back into the next live stream, if they can put their answers in the chat, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Let's go.
Okay. So I'll start off with a mild one. I don't want anything too.
He's written them down.
I've got a few. I don't know which one to pick. Oh, hang on. This is completely off piece, right, and completely unrelated. But I've just remembered. Have you ever had that thing happen on like Instagram where like a business page will follow you, and then they'll like loads of your posts, yeah. just so you go, oh, who's this liking all my posts? Yep. And you go and have a look. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I had that happen to me the other day, right? And it was a local business in Peterborough. But it was a hair salon. So I was just like, you're barking up the wrong tree trying to get my business.
They're on the wind up for sure, aren't they? Their marketing manager needs to be sacked. Oh, that is genius.
I was like, you're not going to get much business out of me.
Well, you never know. Wait, you never know, mate. If this podcast takes off, we might get sponsors. So let's not try and piss off any local businesses.
I will keep it clean, this first one. They might not always be clean. I can't guarantee it. I actually did ask this one last time, but I feel like enough times past you've probably forgotten that I asked you this.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask it again. I might as well start this one where it was supposed to start.
Yeah.
So, do you prefer matinees or manatees? Don't answer now.
Okay.
And I want reasons why for whichever you pick.
So do we need to clarify what both of those things are for people in the chat, or everyone knows what a matinee and a manatee is?
People can use Google.
There are search engines available.
Yeah, Google.
yeah. Ask Jeeves if
Is
if
he
you
still
prefer.
about? Is he still
I
about?
have no idea.
Old Jeeves.
Yeah. Okay. So just give it to us one more time, just in case people missed it.
Do you prefer matinees or manatees?
Answers on a postcard for the next episode. Yeah. Right, before we go, lads, I just want to have a quick run through of the people that have joined us. We want to say thank you to Life by Lizzie, Big Man Boise, Mr. Steele, Staceman Drummer. Who else we got? We got Nathan Beege has been in the chat. We've got Streamboat01. We're building a community, lads. It's happening already.
Yes.
This is going to sound dodgy, but since you said the guy's name, Staceman,
Staceman.
all I think of, I'm up in
Stace. Man. Honestly, absolute hero. Do you know what, actually, because we're doing it this way as well, like this format, it does open ourselves up to, like, later down the line, once people are sick and tired of us, we can get other dads involved.
Absolutely.
You know, and
as long as they buy a Rode XCM50.
Yeah, available from Gear for Music, not sponsored. He's choking on a golden reliever. Oh my god! Big Man Boise. Wait a sec. I've got a cough. 2 seconds, mate. Big Man Boise says he'd be up for joining us on an episode. I definitely,
absolutely.
I think once we found our rhythm with it and our groove, there might be a week, for example, where one of us is away or whatever, and you know we need to fill a spot or something. We can get a guest dad in, you know, or
definitely,
or mum. You know, we're not opposed to hearing the other side of it.
Yeah,
but I guess, you know, our target demographic is dads, I guess, isn't it? You know, let's not beat around the bush. But lads, it's been just over an hour and a half. Thank you for spending the evening with me.
Nice.
Send my love to Connie, really Kirsty, and the kids.
Ditto.
And look after yourselves. Just for people that have stayed with us this long, like I said, this is the pilot episode. If you've liked it, please share it to your friends and stuff. You can send them the Twitch link. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to work to get with the guys to get the social set up for this. And then we're going to have a little push to get people engaged with that.
We will get better at this as well. You know, this very much
things can only get better. Yeah, we will.
I might get a Wi-Fi extender to improve the internet in my.
Or at least like a
and
cup
right on cue.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could at least get like a cup with a bit of string or something, you know. Maybe talk into that. But yeah, we will get all the socials up and whatnot. I think we've proved tonight, you know, we've got a lovely few people that are in the chat and stuff. I think this is a good way of doing it, lads. And really looking forward to it. Initially, I guess at the moment, once a month isn't unreasonable, is it, for us to get on and do this once a month?
Once a month. Once a month's good.
But if we can,
doing this in this format, so easy.
It makes it a bit freer, doesn't it? Yeah, certainly.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think initially, like I say, once a month, but doing it this way, we could possibly look to do it a couple of times even. It depends how much people want to see us, really.
I'm well up for that.
But yeah,
always down for a natter.
Always up for a natter, and you know, with you guys, it's always a pleasure, never a chore. So yeah,
what snacks are going to be here next week?
Oh yeah, and people
are going to want to know, aren't they?
People in the chat as well. Bring your snacks. Put it in the chat, and yeah, we'll keep that conversation going as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the live stream, and then me and the boys are going to chat about it. All of you that have been in the chat, we're going to slag you off. I'm only joking. But thank you so much for tuning in, guys. This has been So I Guess We Are Dads Now. And I'm going to be signing off.
Dads now.
This is it. Episode 1, the pilot. And we'll see you on the next one, yeah? Well, I'm going to stop streaming. Here we go.